It's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode, and it's Lamont. We back. And I was just thinking about something. Obviously, we do a ton of live streams, man. We have a ton of basketball conversations, and obviously, it seems like no matter what we talking about, the conversation always goes back to Michael Jordan. And I think one of the oddest things that Jordan fans say about Michael Jordan in this era of the 90s, and they say it proudly. They say it as if there's no issue with it. They say it proudly. They say it loudly, and they use it to bolster Michael Jordan's case for being the GOAT. But they like to say that Michael Jordan was feared. We'll get into that. We're going to get into this. We're going to be reacting to a video and more today here on FYF Sports. Man, before we get started today, make sure you guys go check out Clash TV Summer Basketball 2023. It's already here in June. You can download the app. It's a free app. You can download it on an Apple Store, and you can download it in Google Play. You have access to over 800 games, 15 different types of leagues. You're talking Drew League, different Pro-Am leagues. You can vote, you can chat, you can debate on all these topics, NBA topics, whatever you want. Make sure you guys check us out as well on Clash TV. We're going to be dropping exclusive content on Clash TV. Content that you cannot find on YouTube will be on Clash TV. Make sure you download that app. Download it today. Go check us out over there. You're going to get 1,000 free Clash coins to use as you feel free to use on the app to start with. Going to give you access to a ton of different types of content. It's just a new wave of sports, especially during these summer months when there's no NBA, there's no college basketball, really no NFL. All we got is just kind of baseball, right? We don't even have a hockey. So make sure you tune in, Clash TV. Check out the best basketball leagues in the world throughout the summer. And that's going to all be available on that app. But today, we want to talk about the 90s and Michael Jordan. And there's a consistent theme that people like to utilize when talking about Michael Jordan's greatness. And one of the things that they like to say is Michael Jordan was feared. All the players in the league feared him. They were scared of him. I mean, when I think of the word fear, I'm thinking of scared. I'm thinking of guys that are going to back down. I'm thinking of guys that don't want to challenge you or push you. I'm thinking of guys that don't want to dethrone you if you're at the top. I'm thinking of guys that are willing to give up and concede and not fight through to the end. When I think of fear, these are all the things that are running through my head. And many Michael Jordan fans claim that the 90s was the greatest, most competitive era of basketball of all time. Yet they love to use the word fear when describing Michael Jordan's competition. I want you guys to take a look at this YouTube short right here. I want you guys to take a quick look at it. And I think this YouTuber did a great job of kind of calling Stephen A. Smith out on the BS take.
I saw it with my own two eyes. Everybody universally respects him. They feared Jordan, bro.
Well, look at the fear in Rex Chapman's eyes. You can just see it, huh? Oh, big Michael Jordan didn't want to go against him. Hit him with the Yagas. Who's the first to do look away three? Looks like it was Rex Chapman. What you want? Too late, brother. Yagas. Oh, Mike saw me defensive player of the year. Nope, don't care. I'm gonna hit you with these Yagas. And I hate to point out the obvious, but when people said they were scared of Michael Jordan, that seems like that era was a little soft, huh? Could you imagine anybody today saying they were scared of somebody else that was playing against today? I don't think so.
So there you have it right there. We heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Stephen A. Smith, again, this is one of the guys that has Jordan as the GOAT, but he also has Jordan as the GOAT, and he has vehemently come out and said that there's literally nothing LeBron James can do to pass him up. And so in his case, in his rant, to make sure that Jordan stays the GOAT and that a guy like LeBron James can never pass him, now he has to start saying ungodly, unfathomable things just to make Jordan look better. And one of those things is by labeling all of Michael Jordan's competition as in fear or scared. And so I think this is why a lot of people get mad at me when I play clips of guys like a Rex Chapman, right? Guys like a Drazen Petrovic, which if you actually told us about these guys, if you actually told us about how these guys went all out competing against Michael Jordan, making it tough on him in a night in out basis, it may add a little bit of it may add some credibility to your arguments to say that he's the GOAT. But when you run around saying that, like Stephen A. Smith just said, when you run around saying that, I saw guys who feared Michael Jordan. They were, like I said, there's only one way you can describe fear: scared, guys that are back down, timid, not looking to compete. How can you say he truly played against the greatest competition if everyone was in fear? This is a common theme. Now, that Jordan fans will say that they were feared. People feared him. People were scared of him. This is a common theme that they will say. They will not talk about the guys that went toe to toe with Mike, that challenged him, that didn't back down. They won't talk about those guys. And the problem is they don't like talking about those guys. It's simply because a ton of Jordan's competition in the 90s were players who weren't truly considered the best of the best. When you talk about John Starks and when you talk about Dan Marley, right? When you talk about the Jeff Hornaceks, right? When you talk about these guys, we're not talking about guys that just stand out, that were looked at as stars of their era, even all stars of their era. We're just looking at just good guards. That was his competition. And so as opposed to being honest about his competition and just finding other ways to elevate his greatness, a lot of Jordan fans choose to just lie. And now Stephen A. Smith has said that every player, again, it's a strategy that degrades everyone else to lift up Jordan. You say everyone else is in fear to lift Jordan. And whenever you start with a strategy like that, it simply tells me that you are worried about the guys that you're debating against. I believe that there's a way you can debate Jordan is better than LeBron without trashing all his competition, saying that everybody was in fear. Because we all know, just like the guy said on the short, we all know if Kevin Durant came out tomorrow and said, man, I'm in fear. I'm in fear of the Boston Celtics, man. I'm in fear of that combination of Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. I don't think we can beat them. Y'all would kill them. So why is it okay for players of the 90s, if this was even said, if it was even okay to be in fear, play in fear, or say they were in fear of Mike? But then players of today, if a player today said that, you guys would absolutely destroy him and it wouldn't be acceptable. And this is how I know this fear concept with Michael Jordan was a complete lie. This is how you know it's a complete lie. It's fiction and is made up simply to elevate him and put Jordan at a level above everyone else in hopes that no one else, players like the LeBron Jameses, can ever usurp that. Because the one thing we know is that players of today are not going to walk in the gym and say that they're afraid of LeBron James. They're in fear of LeBron James. They talk about his greatness. They talk about how good he is, but they want to compete against him. So if it's clear that players of today have a much higher degree of a competitive edge and will not back down and claim or play as if they are in fear of LeBron James, then how can one truly claim that though that era of the 90s is better than what we see today? I don't want to hear anything about an era where you guys say everybody was in fear of one man. That's not a very credible. I didn't even hear that in the 70s. I didn't hear this chant and this banter about people in fear of Bill Russell. Wilt Chamberlain went at Bill Russell. The greats of the 70s and 60s went at those guys. I didn't hear people say they were in fear of Magic and Bird. I saw guys like Isaiah Thomas and Dr. J go at and compete against them. Even with Kobe, we saw guys go at him. The Tracy McGrady's, the Grant Hills, we saw guys go at Kobe, even if they were less than players like a Roger Bell or Matt Barnes. guys that weren't all-stars, we saw people compete and go at him on a night in and night out basis. And we even see the same thing in this era with the Steph Currys and the Durants. We don't see players claiming fear. We don't see people running around talking about, oh, that player scared this other team. We see guys competing. Why in the 90s did everybody fear Jordan? Why did they back down? Why did they relent? Why did they not want to compete against one man? 90s basketball is not the greatest era of basketball all time. And all you have to do to understand why is listen to a Jordan fan talk about the greatness of Michael Jordan. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode, man. You guys, spam up the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this video. But we will be back with more sports and news. Until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.
Yeah. Smack. Yeah. Lola. Yeah. F your feelings. As far as sport podcasts out, we the realest. Hot takes, fact based. If we said it, then sign and seal it. Politically correct takes ain't what we give it. We do film study, we do live streams, we tough critics. We go against the grain. We in a different lane. If you ask me who to go, I'ma say it's James. We do fan view reviews, headline news while giving game. We do play-by-plays on our channel if you can't catch the game. All of the good debates that could be had, we the start of it. Don't challenge the person here, challenge the arguments. We love good debates.